place lights at a 45-degree angle to your face. Position the light source at eye level on either side of your computer screen so that they evenly illuminate your face. Use bulbs or lighting sources rated at 2700K to 3200K color temperature. These produce a warm white light that is most flattering.
I'm going to show you how to get the best image possible on Zoom while accessing some settings on your webcam that you didn't know about. Let's get into it. But to start off, you got to realize that when you're inside of Zoom, Zoom uses your webcam with automatic default settings, meaning that everything is automatic, such as your focus, your exposure, your white balance, whatever. It's all being automatically handled by Zoom. We're gonna get into the manual settings of your webcam so you can lock everything down and dial in the perfect settings for your webcam when it comes to Zoom. All right, so first we're gonna download a program called OBS Studio. Go ahead, just go to the website. I'll leave the link down below. Pick your operating system. Go ahead, press install. All right, it'll go in there and you just install it, and it'll do everything automatically. A setup wizard will come up. You just go through it, set, and done. Now, once OBS opens up, you're gonna have this screen, right? And you're gonna have this sources area here, and it's gonna be blank, right? We're gonna go ahead and press plus on it, and then go to video capture device, right? Video capture device will be your webcam. So when we go there, instead of video capture device, you can either type in the name of your webcam if you like, or give it another name, but we'll leave it as a video capture device. I'll press OK, and then it brings this up. Right now it's saying that my other webcam in my VoiceOver Studio, but we're gonna select the webcam that we're using. So I will select Logitech Brio. Now, it's not gonna show the image here in the properties because it's already being used by Zoom. So keep that in mind. But we still have access to the manual settings for the camera. So we'll go to configure video, all right? And it's gonna bring up this little properties thing right here. So I'll just close this out. Oh, no. Yeah, we'll save it, all right? And I'll just minimize that. Okay, and it'll bring up this the properties like I said before. And we'll see we have different settings: brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, white balance, backlight gain, camera control such as our zoom, focus, exposure, and so on. Now, we're looking at default settings right now, and you can see how the image looks good, but everything's kind of like, it's kind of bright. You can see like the highlights, it's just kind of like over bright. So first thing we're going to do is we're gonna uncheck all of our automatic settings. You can already see the color changing, right? We'll take these off and the image gets darker. Now we want to take our focus all the way to 0 because we want we want everything in focus at all times, right? Okay, now let's move to our exposure. You can see how right now it's on, I have it on -5. If I go down, it goes lower. Now keep this in mind, when you go higher, the image will get brighter, but you see how the image starts making this weird, you know, stuttery thing because like the shutter in the camera is open way too long. And so let's go all the way to, we'll leave it at 5, right? We'll take low light compensation off. All right, now we'll go back to our settings here and let's go to the gain. Let's add some artificial light into the scene. So we'll go here, and right here, this looks about good, about 46. That looks about, it looks about natural. Now, white balance. All right, white balance, this is where your image is either too warm or too cold, but this is what gives you the natural colors that you're looking for with your camera. So what you wanna do is with your slider, here you go, just go to the left, it brings it cold, to the right, it brings it warm. Now, what you want to do is you wanna find something within your environment that you know is white. You want to shift the slider until the box back there is white, until it looks white. You know it's white in real life, but you want it to look white on the screen. So I'll play with the slider until it looks white. So now it's a little too warm there. I'm gonna go back until, yes, that looks white. That looks naturally white to me. All right, so this looks very natural and great for Zoom. If you wanna dial into it even more, you can play with your saturation. Right? Normally by default, your saturation will probably be at like 119. But if you want to add a little extra color into your image, you can play with the saturation and just go up to like maybe like 122. And it'll add a little extra color into your skin. And for the sharpness, this is what brings the detail out of your picture. So if I go too much, you can see all the detail on my skin. Doesn't look too good. But if we go just a little backwards, maybe below that, maybe like 17, it softens our skin so it can take the imperfections out of our skin so you look nice and beautiful and pretty. Now let's take a look at the difference. What does it look like? White balance, automatic settings, completely different. Somehow the image just turned kind of greenish, right? It's weird. Natural, greenish? That doesn't look right. Zoom is trying, but it's not doing a very good job of it. There we go. Natural colors, right? And the same thing with our exposure. Too crazy, just right. And one last thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you're doing this, this doesn't save your settings from here out until the end. Whenever you close zoom out and you have to restart all over again, it automatically puts it into auto mode. So if you're just doing like a quick and dirty Zoom call, then fine, leave it on auto, right? But if you're doing something important where you want to look your best, then definitely bring this out so you can tweak those settings so you can look your best. And that is it, guys. What are the key takeaways? Good light source, right? Download OBS Studio to adjust the settings. Make sure that your focus is to 0, your exposure is set to a level where you're not getting the jittery motion blur, right? Where it's nice and smooth. And also, of course, find an object that is white to set your white balance, and you're good to go.
So Wi-Fi waves are basically just radio waves. So that's the same as the electromagnetic waves you pick up with your cell phone or a radio. But Wi-Fi waves are fairly short. They're only 12 centimeters long. The signal gets a lot weaker as it gets further from the router. And generally, it can't really go more than 150 feet from a single router. They actually get absorbed and blocked by walls and metal surfaces. And so the way you position your Wi-Fi router makes a huge difference in how strong the signal is throughout your house. One thing you definitely want to do is put your router near the center of your house because it broadcasts the signal out in equal strength in all directions. So you want it out and open. Like if it's in a closet, the walls of the closet are going to absorb and block some of the signal. A good way to think about it is just use line of sight. From whatever position you can see the furthest in your house and you can see the most number of different rooms, that's probably a good place to put your router. You also really want to lift your router up off the ground because the signals can't penetrate some of the materials that make up floors like metal or concrete or cement. And also the way most routers are designed, they broadcast the wave slightly downwards. So that way you're projecting less of it down into your basement for no reason. A lot of other electronics can interfere with the router signal. Things like TVs, computers, microwaves, pretty much anything that has a motor inside it. So you want to keep the router away from other electronics. Most routers have 2 antennas on them, and ideally you could position one of them vertically and one horizontally. Devices work best when their internal antenna is parallel with the routers, and so most antennas inside laptops are horizontal. But